Good morning. Today we are going to study about one of a radiation detector, that is scintillation counter. Scintillation counter. Scintillation counter is an instrument for detecting and measuring the ionizing radiation by using the excitation effect of the incident radiation on a scintillator material and thus detecting the resultant light pulses. Simply we can say that this is one of the radiation detector which will detect as well as measure the ionizing radiation, and in this scintillation counter we are using scintillators. What are scintillators? There are some substances which emit light flashes when charged particles pass through them. Such particles are called scintillators. I repeat, substances which emit light flashes when charged particles pass through them are called scintillators. And these light flashes, emission of these light flashes are called scintillation. And there are several substances which can be used as scintillator. Here we are using ZnS, that is zinc sulfide, which was the scintillator used in the earlier model. So this is the structure of a scintillation counter, which consists of a scintillator which generates light flashes or photons in response to incident radiation. So we are having a scintillator on which when the charged particles hit on that scintillators, it will emit light or photons. Then we are having a sensitive photomultiplier tube PMT, which converts this light into electrical signal. These scintillators are also known as phosphors. See, the scintillators consist of a transparent crystal, usually a phosphor. So scintillators are also known as phosphors. There are several examples for phosphors like zinc sulfide ZnS, an organic crystal anthracene stilbene, and another one is sodium iodide, which is activated with thallium. So there are three examples. You can study these three examples, that is ZnS activated with the traces of silver. The second one, an organic crystal named anthracene stilbene, and third one, sodium iodide activated with the thallium. So these are some of the examples of phosphors. And this scintillation counter was first used by Rutherford and his colleagues, and he used ZnS as the phosphor for the detection and counting of alpha particles. So what is the principle behind this scintillator? So we are having high energy radiations. When these high energy atomic radiations are incident on a surface coated with some fluorescent material, flashes of lights are produced. And these flashes of light called scintillations are detected with the help of a photomultiplier tube, which convert these light flashes into electric signals. So these are the atomic radiations which we have to detect and measure. When it falls on scintillator, what happens? Scintillator produces flashes of light. That flashes of light is given to the photomultiplier tube PMT, which will convert these flashes of light into electrical signals, and it is counted using a counter. So with this help of counter, we can count the amount of incident nuclear radiations. So that is a simple principle behind the scintillation counter. So this modern electronic scintillation counter was invented in 1944 by Sir Samuel Curran. And this instrument is for detecting and measuring the ionizing radiation. And it consists of a scintillator. So this is the scintillator part. And this scintillator, what is the function of this scintillator? Then when this high energy photon get incident on this scintillator, it generates photons, and these photons are then taken by the photomultiplier tube, which converts, see, this is the entire photomultiplier tube, which converts this light radiations into electrical signal and electronics to process the signal. Scintillation counters are widely used in radiation protection, and these can be used to measure both the intensity as well as the incident energy of incident radiation. Intensity and energy of the incident radiation. See, here you can see the high energy photon getting into the scintillator. It produces light flashes, and these flashes are passed through this photomultiplier tube. See, now this photomultiplier tube consists of focusing electrode, a photocathode, a focusing electrode, and several arcs. These arcs are known as dynodes. So initially there is a photocathode, and finally there is a nanode also. So these are the components in a photomultiplier tube: a photocathode, a focusing electrode, several dynodes, and a nanode. Now we know that photocathode converts the light photons into electrons. Now what is the function of dynodes? Dynodes, a series of electrodes, is used to amplify the signal. Using dynodes assembly, initial signal is amplified by 10⁵ to 10⁶ times. Then an anode, which is used at the end to collect the electrons. So initially, after incidenting on the scintillator, light flashes are formed. These light flashes are converted into electrons by electrons. See, here we can see the light flashes. When these high energy photon get incident on a scintillator, light flashes are produced. These light flashes are converted into electrons with the help of this photocathode. Now this photocathode, through this focusing electrons are focused to the first dynode. Now dynode is having a function of multiplicity. So from here to here, see, here you can a single line. From here you can see two lines. So the electrons gets multiplied or amplified using this dynodes, and it is collected with the help of an anode at the end. So that is the working. Now it's covered with a shell also to prevent the component from electric and magnetic field, a voltage divider network which splits the high voltage supply into various potential required by dynodes. Now moving on to the working. When the gamma ray interacts with the scintillation material, visible light is emitted. The visible light interacts with the photocathode and electrons are emitted, and they are attracted to the first positively charged dynode. When it strikes the dynode, more electrons are emitted. The first dynode is shaped so that it directs the emitted electrons to the next dynode. The electrons are multiplied again by the second dynode and sent to the third dynode. The electron multiplication continues throughout all the dynodes in the photomultiplier tube. The result is that a large flow of electrons striking the anode. Typically, each electron emitted from the photocathode will end up as about 1,000,000 electrons striking the anode. Afterward, the anode collected the electrons. Collecting the electrons will constitute an electric current, isn't it? And device is used for measure that current. So the output of scintillation detector is a pulse of electrons which is proportional to the energy of the original radiation interacting with the scintillation material. So that is the process. From high energy photon, it gets entering into the scintillator, hits the scintillator, and light flashes are produced. Now these light flashes are converted into electrons from using photocathode, and this focusing electrode focus the electron to the first dynode. From there, electrons gets multiplied, again multiplied, fourth dynode, fifth dynode, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so many dynodes are arranged so that the electrons are multiplied to several times and this get collected through an anode. So the current is measured and this pulse is proportional to the energy of the original radiation interacting with the scintillation material. So that was about the scintillation counter. Its advantages. It's having very high efficiency. Then second one is that when compared with GM counter, it is having greater stability, greater accuracy and higher efficiency also. So and also the another advantage is scintillation counter is capable for fast counting rate. So fast counting rate is an advantage. Second one, it is more efficient with this scintillation property. And the time of pulse being very short so that its resolving power is high. So high resolving power is another advantage. Now the disadvantages include poor energy resolution and the decay time of the anode pulse. Since the decay time of the anode pulse is very high, such detectors are capable of handling high counting rates. So study two advantages and these two disadvantages, and it is having an application, and the main application is that a scintillation counter can be used as a spectrometer, and it also used to detect the antiprotons. Also it is used in the study of cosmic rays also. So there are the different types of applications, that is scintillation counter as a spectrometer used to detect the antiprotons, and it's also used in the study of cosmic rays. So that's about the scintillation counter. You have to know the principle, construction, working, its advantages, disadvantages and applications. Thank you.